Hello and welcome everybody to the Academic Leaders Symposium. My name is Dr. Kylene Myra and I'm one of the faculty advisors with the Enactus OC team in the country of Canada.
And welcome, I'm Dr. Kathy Cox, the Enactus faculty advisor for City University of Seattle in the United States. Enactus is the world's largest experiential learning organization dedicated to developing the next generation of entrepreneurial leaders and social innovators. The Enactus World Cup recognizes and helps advance the impact on next generation leaders as well as on the impact of their teams' projects. Thank you to the Global Faculty Research Network for championing the Academic Leaders Symposium and poster section at the Enactus World Cup. We are in the third year in the running. It's exciting to see the diversity and variety of research topics across our academic network. Dr. Myra?
We were thrilled to receive 25 academic submissions from South America, North America, and Eurasia. And today, we are seeing the 6 finalists as they share their research work with us. The hour before, we had 3 of our presenters in session 1. And now in this session, we'll have the additional 3 other research presentations. Each presentation is 10 minutes and it'll be followed by a 5-minute question and answer period. Please feel free to submit your questions via the chat in the Visible platform. And we ask if you do it throughout the presentation and don't wait until the end, just to ensure that your questions are received by the presenters. Also, as noted when you opted in to the session, it is being recorded. The great news about that is you will have a chance to see the presentations at a later time on demand, should you like to view them again, or if there were any that were missed. Okay, so let's begin with our first presentation. I'd like to ask Dr. Mabel and Dr. Satya to join me on the screen as I introduce their presentation from India, and it is improving the shelf life of Palmyra sap, thereby improving the livelihood of palm tappers. So I'll pass over the screen to yourselves, and I'll look forward to joining you at the end for the Q&A.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Good evening and greetings from Enactus Rajalakshmi Engineering College, India. I am Millicent Mabel, and along with my team, Dr. Satya and Ms. Preeti are going to present you our research work on the topic, improving the shelf life of Palmyra sap, thereby improving the livelihood of palm tappers. Palm sap is a very sweet and nutritious beverage that is obtained from the Palmyra tree. It is called Padanir in Tamil and Neera in Hindi and Indian languages. It's a very traditional drink which is dated back to the 17th century and one of the best summer drink that you can all have because it is full of nutrients. Example, it has a lot of sucrose in it, vitamin C, calcium, minerals, and lots more. And it helps to cure gastric ulcer, constipation, high blood pressure, and even dehydration is cured when you take this palm sap. Such is the health benefit of this palm sap. So how do they collect it? They are the palm tappers, and the palm tappers will cut the inflorescence, the end of the inflorescence, and thereby the palm sap will slowly drip into the earthen pots. The earthen pots will be coated with calcium hydroxide so that there is no microorganism entering into the palm sap when it is collected. This will happen overnight. So after that, early in the morning, the palm tappers again climb the tree and take the pot which is full of fresh palm sap. So what's going to be the problem in this palm sap? The shelf life, that is the lifespan of this palm sap is very, very low. It is just 2 hours. After 2 hours, there is a process called fermentation that will start happening and it will turn this healthy drink into an alcoholic drink. And this will happen because of some of the yeast and the bacteria that exist in the environment. And one more issue is the palm sap is very seasonal. It is obtained only from January to June. And since the shelf life is very short, it cannot be transported throughout the country or even throughout the state. So it is only sold in the local markets, thereby the palm tappers are directly affected, getting only very, very low income because of a very small market size. And so what is the priority to solve this problem? The palm tapper community should get a regular income. They are severely under the economic pressure, so they have to be uplifted in the society. And one district in Tamil Nadu has around 1 crore palm trees, but there are no palm tappers seen tapping the palm tree because the income is very low and they are becoming they are in the verge of becoming extinct day by day. So one fine time, we will not be able to see palm trees in India. That's going to be the sad scenario. So what is the proposed solution given here? A very simple technology and a very eco-friendly technology is taken up here for our research work. We are going to formulate a biofilm. So this biofilm will be formulated using marine waste. So the investment for the resource will be very, very, very less. And we are going to take a simple technology called bottling process. We are going to fill the palm sap into the bottle, and then we are going to coat the bottle caps both on the inner side and the outer side with the biofilm that is formulated, and it will be stored normally in the refrigerated condition. Please note there will not be any chemical preservatives added to this natural, traditional, healthy drink. This simple technology will improve the shelf life of this palm sap to up to 14 days. So this is the simple methodology. The palm sap is collected afresh from the tree using the earthen pots. It is done, a nutritional analysis is done, sensory analysis done, and then it is just given a small filtration process and directly goes for the bottling. Simultaneously, biofilm will be formulated. It will be checked for the microbial activity, and then it will be coated on the bottle caps. And then the bottled padani or palm sap will be stored for 14 days in cold storage. This is the simple methodology we are going to apply here. And the sensory and nutritional analysis done in the laboratory, which is recognized by the government of India, states this palm sap is rich in vitamin C, iron, calcium, and all other minerals as it is highlighted. Also, the sensory analysis says it is acceptable throughout any customer range, and the flavor, texture, appearance, overall acceptability all lives in the range of 7 to 7.5. So day 1 and day 14, both the palm saps were analyzed, and there is no much difference in the sensory analysis. So this is a proof for the antimicrobial activity. The palm sap which is going to be preserved with the biofilm shows that there is no microbial activity at all. So it is a perfect biofilm which can be used to preserve this palm sap. So once our lab scale is done, so far the lab scale is done. Now we are proposing to go into the large scale production within the next 6 months. So this is going to be a small chart showing you the large scale production. So palm sap will be collected, it will be transported to the near manufacturing area, stored, filtered, and immediately taken for bottling session. Parallelly, the biofilm will be produced, it will be coated on the bottle caps, and then it will be sealed, packed, and cold storage will happen. It will reach the end consumers. So this is our proposed large scale production. So a small survey was taken in a village in Kanjipuram district among the palm tappers, and the survey shows around 5,000 of them were involved earlier in palm tapping profession, but now only 50 palm tappers are existing, and the total number of palm tappers in the state will be around 6 lakh people currently. But what is the reason for becoming extinct? They collect around 10 to 12 liters of palm saps per day, but the profit they get out of it is only 800 rupees per day. The government is also not supporting them with any new initiatives. This is what we understand from the survey. The current scenario is the palm sap collected is taken to the cooperative societies in the state, and then they are filtered, they are chilled, and they are packed. Thereby, the shelf life is increased only to 2 days. Hence, transportation to another state or another country is making it impossible. So this is a small comparison of the current scenario and the expected outcome from the project. So in the current scenario, just plastic packets are used. Shelf life is only 2 days. Manufacturing cost will be 700 rupees per 10 liters, but the selling cost will be 1,500 per 10 liters. And it can be sold only in the local markets, and the palm tappers net profit is around only 800 rupees per day. But the expected outcome from this project will be a biofilm packaging, which is eco-friendly. Shelf life is 14 days. Manufacturing cost is just 1,000 rupees, and it is sold at 30 rupees across the country or across the state. And thereby the market size will be increased. Large number of consumers will be there, and the net profit of the palm tappers will be definitely 2,000 per day. It can be assured. So the profit percent increase can go up to 150%. So what is the impact level in the state? Directly, around 6 lakh palm tappers will be benefited from this project, and 4,000 people who are involved in the manufacturing process also will be benefited. And indirectly, 40% of the Tamil Nadu population who are going to consume this healthy, natural, and no added preservative drink will be benefited. They will count to around 36 lakhs. Some of the considerations given for this project were the natural raw material should be used. It should be economical and simple technology. A natural healthy drink for all. It should be eco-friendly, and reduced bio-waste should be generated. Always satisfied through this project. Even some of the UN's sustainable goals were satisfied through this project. For example, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, climate action, and life on land. So all these were satisfied from our project. To conclude, this project will definitely be a remarkable implementation in the palm tappers family. They will increase their economic status by 150%, and a natural, healthy, and no added preservative drink, which is very, very good for health, will be available throughout the state for any kind of people, from children to youngsters to old people. Hence, we believe, we inspire, and we become in creating a sustainable world for all. We are enactors, Rajalakshmi Engineering College, and we would like to acknowledge RUTAG, IIT Madras for funding us with this project. And we would like to acknowledge the management and Department of Biotechnology, Rajalakshmi Engineering College, for supporting us with the infrastructure. Thank you all.
Well, thank you very much for that engaging and really inspiring presentation, and to see all the work that has gone into this project. I'd like to ask the first question, which is, what has the Enactus team experienced with this project?
So our Enactus team has gone through the survey into the villages and talking to all the palm sappers. They were able to conclude that, okay, this is going to be the real scenario and real problem. And the Enactus students formulated this project, that is the biofilm formulation. They went through a lot of research articles, and they came out with this good idea. And and one part of the team executed the research work in the laboratory, assisted by us. And finally, we are in the scaling up process. Now we have to scale it up. Unfortunately, due to this pandemic situation, it is in hold.
Right. So as it's been having to be put on hold a little bit, how might the project change, or how have you had to adapt the project, both for the students and for sort of the environment you have faced?
Due to this current pandemic situation, our contact with the villages or the palm tappers or with the industry is put on stake as of now. So a clear-cut scenario is yet to be faced. Probably it will turn up positive very soon.
Right, right. And you outlined a very sort of detailed process of how you go through collecting and getting the product ready at the other end. Where have you encountered the most challenges? And what have you had to adapt with your process and you've learned through the research about it?
The transportation time from the collection point to the end point, that was a bit challenging for us, because soon after the collection, immediately fermentation will start after 2 hours. So we have to do the process very quickly. So that is where we face the challenge. So we are implementing a small filtration process. Thereby, we can extend the shelf life to few more hours before we go into the real process.
Right.
That was the challenge we encountered.
Okay. And how do you feel that the work you're doing here could benefit or be shared with other communities, both in your country or in other parts around the world, especially through the Enactus network?
So now, as of now, direct beneficiaries will be the palm tappers community. And it will also benefit people from the self-help group who are going to be employed in the manufacturing of this biofilm and in the bottling process. So again, a poorer section of the society, the below poverty line society people will definitely be benefited once they are employed in this manufacturing sector.
Excellent. And another question that's come in is, have you tried to collaborate with other teams in India to scale this? And it could be other Enactus teams or other stakeholders. And then that will be our final question.
Okay, thank you. So we are in collaboration with Central Food Research Laboratory, which is the world #1 food research laboratory situated in Mysore, Andhra Pradesh, India. They are helping us with this research project to be carried out in the lab level. So to scale it up, we are working with an industry nearby Tamil Nadu. So they will help us with the bottling process.
Excellent. Well, it's great to see so many people being part of the process, and we'll look forward to seeing the results as hopefully you're able to restart the research again. So Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm now going to turn it over to Dr. Cox, who will introduce our next presenter.
Thanks, Dr. Myra. That was an interesting study. Next, we have Dr. Sten from the USA doing a case study, A Perfect Seed, Sustainability in Action. We're excited to hear about your research, Dr. Sten.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's great to be here from the United States. The project that I'm bringing you is actually based out of Bolivia, and it's a live case study. So I'll do a screen share here and show you what it is that we're working on. Here we have the website of our project, which is called A Perfect Seed. And what I'm going to do is tell you the story of how we got there. And it's something called a live case study. And as a professor of entrepreneurship at Landmark College, I've had the opportunity to be a researcher and an educator at the same time. So this project came from work that I had done in Bolivia. Let's see, I'm seeing myself in the middle of the presentation, but I don't think I have access to that. Are other people seeing that?
We're seeing it.
You're seeing me in the middle of the presentation instead of to the side? Or no?
We see you on the side. We're fine.
Okay, perfect. All right, good. So I'm just seeing it funny. Okay.
You need to be in presentation mode because we are seeing your next slide.
Right, right. Okay, with me, I just look like I'm in the middle of the slide. So, okay, that's great. So basically what we're doing is it's based on a Fulbright project that I had done working in Bolivia. So I've been working in Bolivia for 20 years, but I did spend 3 years specifically studying quinoa. And there's 360 royal quinoa varieties in Bolivia, but there is a problem where there's a lot of competition, and the quinoa that's produced in Bolivia, which is the original production space of quinoa originated from the Andean region. And the people that produce their quinoa in a very sustainable way. They grow it by hand, they grow it slowly. It's a 9-month period. They think of it like their child. They're giving birth to the seed. And it has a lot of cultural and spiritual significance as well. In addition, by spending time studying the women, and I was working as an economist, I do development economics as well as social entrepreneurship. So when I was there as a Fulbright researcher, I was staying with the women in their kitchens, in their houses, and noticing that they were cooking with varieties. So in the USA, a lot of times we know of quinoa and other parts of the country as being red, black, and white. But within those colors, there's varieties, and the women respect the specific varieties and cook with them, and they have different properties that weren't known to the culinary world. So I saw an opportunity here. The Bolivian quinoa growers were losing market access because other countries were industrializing their quinoa production and being able to really scale operations, and the Bolivians don't, right? Their soils don't allow them to, their culture and ethical beliefs don't allow them to. They grow organic quinoa. Most of the organic quinoa comes from Bolivia because other people can't grow it organically. So they grow it organic, they grow it slowly, and they end up with a much higher quality quinoa known as royal quinoa and these varieties. So I took this challenge to my entrepreneurship students who are also part of Enactus and said, hey guys, figure this out. So they started coming up with new ways of entering into markets for this product. And what we wanted to do was have a collaborative solution. So we went back to the farmers and we formed a cooperative where we work with fair trade producers, and they're also on the board of directors of an organization that we've registered now in the state of Vermont as a mutually beneficial enterprise. So that's like a Vermont style of business that would qualify for a B Corp. Okay, it has a lot of those same values, but as a state, we actually have this type of business registration. So now we're registered as a mutually beneficial enterprise and we're a cooperative, and our board is made up of people in the US and Bolivia. And what we're doing now is we're collaborating with business students. So this is where there's opportunities for everybody. We're looking at using the business model canvas, the sustainability lens, sustainable development goals, Blue Ocean Strategy, HubSpot Academy. So a lot of these are open source materials that are available worldwide, that are popular in entrepreneurship programs, and we're applying them in a way that others can now participate in this project and actually have live experiments of opening markets, you know, working with disadvantaged producers, educating consumers. And the way we start is this is a basic business model canvas showing how I can sell quinoa. Right, I purchase it for, you know, we work with containers, we work with tons, you know, so I purchase my ton of quinoa, I repackage it, resell it, I make some money, okay? And what we do now is we apply the sustainability lens, which is a tool I created, I wrote about it in this book, and what it does is it creates many more opportunities for us on this business model canvas. So now we're looking at where are things actually coming from, like all the way down to the earth where it's being produced. What about the health of the people around us? How are we dealing with exchange? Does everyone have access to this? And what kind of policies? If we're doing things differently, are we sharing this information with others? So as we run through this program, and I actually created a game that's going to be getting produced this year called the Sustainability Lens, so people can do this with any kind of business. But as we go through this, we start looking at new opportunities where we're bringing in the idea of organic, and we're bringing in the idea of food sovereignty and spirituality, because this quinoa is blessed before it's planted and harvested. We have this idea of cooperatives and fair trades, producer-owned, dignified wage, direct trade, right? Because we're working direct with the farmers right to the consumers, which are restaurateurs and large corporations and also individuals. And then we have the student engagement, native varieties, regenerative production. So what that gives us is a hugely robust business model canvas. So we go back to this, we have all these different ways of imagining the business and interacting with markets and also interacting with the sustainable development goals. So now we have so much more than just reselling quinoa, right? We're working with no poverty and zero hunger. We're working with reduced inequalities, gender equality, education. And the students I work with are neurodiverse, which means that they look and think of things in our world differently than how neurotypical people do. So my students have autism, dyslexia, ADHD. So all of the work I do is accessible to people on all levels. So this is what my students did. They were presented with this challenge and they said, okay, we got this. So this was my marketing class, and they decided to use Blue Ocean Strategy and create a Kickstarter. So our quinoa is expensive, right? To be able to have a dignified wage for the farmers, we need to be charging $3,445 a ton, okay, FOB for this product. If we look at that compared to common market prices, right, most people are getting cheap quinoa for about $1,900. Okay, and it goes all the way up to the organic fair trade Bolivian is $2,600. We're above all of those prices. And we're unique because nowhere else can you get Caspina, Negra, Toledo, Pandela, quinoa, which all have really distinct properties and can be used for baking and cooking and rice in many new and different ways. So they decided to do a Kickstarter, okay, and there's a link there. We can look at the Kickstarter. And in the middle of the pandemic, we launched this in May. They raised $5,798. Okay, what we found out was using HubSpot Academy, which has a great open source program that all Enactus people can use. We used a buyer's journey model and found that between food, health, and culture, food was where people were right now. That was the thing they were most interested in. Lockdown in their houses, cooking for themselves, they wanted some options. So we did do it yourself. We did photo shoots right in my house. Here we are getting ready to create the social media, which launched. And we had tremendous success with the social media. These are some of our most popular posts, our sushi recipe, the protein smoothie, and the black tabbouleh. Okay. We use Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, and by this being a live case study, the students had access to the analytics. So as they're creating this, identifying markets, you know, building stories, taking photos, they're also seeing live how people are interacting with their different posts. Okay, and in conclusion, what's next is you can teach a student to fish, but you know, we want to give them that fishing rod so they can go out and really have a lot of fun. So I'm offering curricula for others to use. I'm seeking partners. We're going to do a pilot for 2021. I'm developing a live case study with the North American Case Research Association. So that'll be something that's published and available for purchase. I'll also be introducing a new variety called Pisankaya. It's right here. It's a popcorn quinoa. And we're expanding to wholesale markets. So here's my what's up. I'm here from Landmark College. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Dr. Sten, for such an interesting presentation. And it seems like a very worthwhile project. So you were talking about your sustainability lens model. How do you think other Enactus teams could use that model?
Yeah, I would love for people to start using it. I'm actually presenting this, the Social Entrepreneurship Conference in Ecuador right now. And on Friday, I'll be presenting the sustainability lens. So game. So I would love to have teams reach out to me and say, hey, we want to play this, or hey, we're interested in this. I'm looking at creating an app also, so it becomes more accessible. So we can do live online workshops. So right now I'm kind of open. I just did a workshop in Pakistan over the summer introducing the concept, and that went over really well.
Great. And we just had a question come in, but please make sure, ask your questions in your chat box on your Bizbo. And the question that came in terms of entrepreneurship behavior, skills, and attitudes, which skills do the students have and which did you have to work harder to foster in them?
I think, you know, with anybody, because I've taught entrepreneurism in non-neurodiverse environments as well. And I find, you know, everybody has different things that they excel at, right? Some people are really analytical and they're just good at keeping track of a solid message. Other people are super creative and they're just really good at generating all different types of approaches. So I find when I work with my classes, we work in teams and we recognize where our strengths and weaknesses are, and we let each other kind of jump in at those places. In general, with my students, executive function is really hard, which means keeping track of things. So we make sure that we have a very clear system of keeping track, and there's just a lot of really clear communication. But yeah, you know, with social media, it really is, you know, there's so many, the analytical tools and the templates, it really is pretty easy to get these projects up and running and tracking them. And especially, you know, being consistent with the message, right? And we use Canva, which is another free online program, CANVA, for our graphic design work, and we can share templates with that. And HubSpot Academy was also amazing at giving us really accessible tools.
Thanks for explaining all those tools.
Yeah.
So how has COVID-19 impacted this issue in the project?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like, here's our Kickstarter, and it's delivered. And we knew that not every single variety of quinoa was going to be here. So here's our little, you know, unpacking, get a little llama doll. But 2 of our quinoa varieties we had here in country already, and there's 2 that we still needed to have shipped in. So like, this is the black quinoa, and then everyone gets a little recipe card. And you know, this whole package comes out being $15, including shipping, right? So it's not too much more than what you would pay in the grocery store, you know, but it would be a high-end price, right? But we do have 2 varieties of quinoa that we're shipping right now that haven't shipped yet because of the lockdowns in Bolivia, the blocks on the road, they're having political unrest. And I've been working with Bolivia for 25 years. I'm familiar with this. Quinoa has a long shelf life. So our delivery for the new varieties is September. We look like we're still on track with that. The farmers are producing their quinoa, they're planting it, they're very isolated in the countryside, and they feel like eating quinoa helps them stay more healthy, and they've been pretty resilient. So luckily we haven't been so impacted. We anticipated this happening, so we really, got a lot of our quinoa already in country. Actually, what we anticipated was the political unrest. So we had all of that. We already had a lot of pieces set up in advance, and then the COVID just, hit on top of that.
Great. So this is our last question. So what are the most important skills students can take from the Sustainability Lens course or the tool?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, because I play this with anybody, and like, you don't have to be a social entrepreneur. And what I find is people in the beginning, they're like, what? And then after because there's cards they pick and solutions they solve. And after they've gotten done, they're like, ah. And it just becomes like a real mindset. It's just a creative way, like, okay, well, I'm going to go buy, some pens for my business. Well, why didn't I get pens made out of recycled plastic? Why didn't I get fair trade? Why didn't I get refillable? What, it's just bringing in these questions that you never thought of something you were already going to do anyway. So even with like hiring, well, I can just, sell, buy quinoa from anybody and sell it. Well, let's go buy it from a farmer we know. Let's go buy it from a fair trade farmer. Let's buy it from a fair trade farmer that has what's up, so we can do live communication with them in the classroom and build this relationship and share this relationship with others. So it's just putting an extra layer of thoughtfulness, and people quickly catch on, and it's just fun, because then there's so much more that you're doing and it feels so much more meaningful.
Well, thank you, Dr. Stan. I think that Sustainability Lens model is a great tool for teams to use. We really appreciate explaining it. So next, I'm going to toss it back to Dr. Myra to end up introducing our last presenter.
Okay, thanks very much. And thanks very much for this last presentation. And just a reminder, because we've seen so many terrific presentations, and you may want to go back and review them, that they will be available on demand later today. So I'm pleased to present and introduce our final presenters. If you would join me up on the screen, Ms. Toledo and Victor. And they are going to be talking about a sensory analysis of the coffee produced from the acai fruit. So I'm going to turn it over to our presenters, and I will join you again in 10 minutes for the question and answer period. Just a reminder, again, we're so pleased with the questions. If you can continue to have the questions all the way through the presentation, so we can make sure that they have a chance to answer them.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabella Bastoledo. I'm a member of Enactus Facimp along with my friend Pedro Victor, and our research is focused on acai. I ask for your patience because my English is not very good, so I will let Pedro continue from now on.
My name is Pedro Victor. I'm an electrical engineering student, and I will just screen the, okay, here. First thing, I would like to talk about our team and introduce ourselves. We at Enactus Facimp, we were the first team of our state here in Maranhão, Brazil. Here we have some photos of events that we went to talk about the Enactus and the entrepreneurship and so on and so forth. Our project is about sensory analysis of the coffee produced from the acai fruit. Me and Isabella, we are presenting here, but we are not the only ones who did this. Here we have Arthur Torres dos Santos, Hernandes Moura, Isabella, Clenis, me, Pedro, and Rayana Batista. She is the teacher. She is our advisor. Here, this image is the image we created to publicize the tasting of the acai we held on our college, on the campus. And first, where did we get this acai? We are working with a community called Acai 1700 community. It's a small, it's like a village. It's about 1 hour from here where we are by car, and consists about 90 extractivist families. with a monthly income per family around $390. Each family extracts about 2,600 kilos of acai per semester and approximately 230 tons of acai annually, just by this community. And they have a lot of problems. When we first got there, we could see, and we managed to analyze about one of their own problem. Acai is their only source of income. So acai is what keeps them alive, what brings food to the table. The harvest of the acai lasts only for 6 months. So they extract during 6 months, and for the rest of the year, they have to live only with what they've got during these 6 months, because they can't produce anymore. They have problems with the disposal of these wastes. We could see this purplish water coming from all the houses that comes from the acai, and they have no brand. So all their product they sell at markets in nearby cities. Okay. Being one of the most important palm trees in the northern region of Brazil, its fruit is rich in proteins, fibers, lipids, vitamins, and minerals. It can also be used in crafts. You can see a necklace made from acai seeds, and bracelets as well. The roasted coffee we used was purchased from the same community as I talked before. It was transported in polyethylene bags to our college, kept at room temperature until the moment we had to use them. The method we use to produce the acai coffee is the same method you would use to produce an ordinary cup of coffee. So the sensory analysis was performed at our college, Facimp College campus. And the process of transforming acai seed into coffee is done in 2 stages. First, the seeds are crushed in an industrial machine until it reaches a granular texture. In the second phase, it is roasted in a suitable container to cure the bean and leave it with a flavor similar to the one coffee, that toasty flavor you get from coffee. We got 2 kilos of clean seeds, and we roasted at 120 degrees C for 30 minutes so that they could be crushed again into powder. Here we have the photos of the sensory analysis we held at our college. And here on the right, we have the QR code we used so they could access an online survey to talk about what they thought. Yeah. With the coffee samples, the process of obtaining the concentrate infusion was prepared using about 500 milliliters of boiling water and 6 tablespoons of the acai coffee, using a common cloth filter to strain it. The sensory analysis were performed at our college, as I said, and the evaluation was carried out using samples of 100 milliliters in disposable cups. 4 members of our team were responsible for applying the product, as we can see here. That's me, Isabella, Hernandez, and Artu. And for the analysis of the data we obtained, the basic quality indicators we used were these, between excellent and bad. So you can see we have bad, regular, good, and excellent. The rate of return of the survey was around 30%, because not everyone who drank did the survey. And we did another study about not only about the taste, if they liked it or not, but what they thought could be improved. So we produced 4, we presumed four answers that they could tell us. So there is weak taste if they don't thought the taste was as strong as a real cup of coffee. The smell, and if it has a bitter taste, and if instead of being used as a coffee, if it could be used as tea. So the greater consideration as tea by 40% of the evaluators, with 20% and 10% of the answers, is shown special attention to the flavor. So even if the appearance is kind of the same, they have probably the same, almost the same color, but it's the flavor that it's unusual. Our work was to improve and promote a new perspective on the use of the waste generated by them, because at the community they only use the fruit, so all of the seeds was thrown away, causing pollution. And we believe that with the popularization of this drink, it will promote health benefits to consumers. As I said before, it's a very rich and healthy alternative. And it will generate extra income for the individuals linked to the production as a whole. Because during that 6 months, all they produce, they have to sell, but they don't have a way to storage any excess. So it's or they sell everything, or they have to throw away. And that's it. If you want to get in touch with any of us, this is our emails, and feel free to ask any questions, and we'll try to respond in the best way possible. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much to both of you for this exciting work. And it was great to see all the different pictures of your team members and to see what an impact you're having in this community. So the first question that's come up is, how did your team come up with this project idea?
When we are a really recent team, and we managed to, like, we got in the group and said, okay, let's brainstorm, let's have some ideas, what we can do to help people around us. So we had two options. We had the SAE 1700 community, and we had another community about, it's kind of the same, almost the same project, but with a different ingredient. And we thought, no, I think we thought the SAE was better because it was closer. It's only an hour of car by here. The other was, I forgot the name, but it was harder to get to the other community. So we choose them. So we got there, we had to speak. It's very hard to get in contact with them because they don't have internet. They don't have, how can I say, even though they live in the same community, they are not, they're independent. That's the word. They're independent. So every family is independent. So they don't sell as a whole. So we thought, oh, so we think we can help them better than the other project.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so we can understand you have quite a few constraints or challenges in working in the community. And so another question that came through was, what type of learning or what did you gain from this project that you would like both Enactus and other non-Enactus students to know? So what have you learned going through it you could share with other students?
We learned that there are some people that think that when they go to the college, they only think about themselves. I say, oh, I'll get my degree, I will make money, etc., so on and so forth. But we had the mind like, okay, we don't think that the college is just for study and then that's it. We think, so if we can help people around us during the meantime, we study, and so it will be very helpful, not only for our career, but for like, I don't know if I should say peace of mind, because we can say, oh, we helped that community, we managed to improve them. I'm confident in saying that we helped them. So it's not only about study, it's about the feelings of them as well.
Right, right. So there was a lot of a motivation and benefits gained by the students as well. And so I think looking at the powerful effects of that fruit that you worked on, what are some other ways or products, or where else are you heading with this, Enactus program? So what does the future hold for this project for you? And that would probably be our last question.
Okay, right now we are continuing studying the product. We have our team is mainly not totally consisted about engineers. So we have chemical engineers, we have electrical, we have civil, and our chemical engineer students, they are working on improving the flavor and trying to come up with new ideas of new products, because acai already is used as an energetic. It's a very energetic. It can be used before training, for example, for a energy boost. It's used as well in energy drinks commonly here as well.
Oh. Well, we look forward to hearing about the potential of this product and the work of your students. So thank you very much to Ms. Toledo and Mr. Victor for presenting today. So that wraps up our final presentations. I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Cox to wrap up the session. And I just wanted to thank everybody. I've learned a lot from the presentations today. And by telling from the questions, I think our audience has been very engaged as well.
Thank you, Dr. Myra, and thank you for being such an excellent moderator with me. And thank you for all the people behind the scene in Enactus for putting this together, and for the committee, the research committee, for putting the symposium together. I think we learned a lot in both the earlier session and our second session. We thank all the presenters and their valuable information, from learning about different projects and the processes to do those projects, and including models that we can use in our team. So I think it's been valuable information, and I think everybody's learned a lot. We want to reiterate that this session will be available on demand later today. And also check out the community section of the BISBO site to connect directly with any of these presenters. Lastly, we want to invite you to our poster session tomorrow, where you'll be able to interact even more so with these presenters and other presenters on their academic writing. So again, thank you so much for attending, and thank you for everyone involved.